All right, this is prompt number 3. The challenge that I decided to talk about and focus on is homework. So, some background about homework is it originally started in Prussia, and they used it to prove their power and to show that they were superior in education and academics. But it was not introduced in the United States until 1843, and it was introduced by a man named Horace Mann. He had taken a trip to Prussia, and he was impressed with their education system, and so he came back to America with a mission. Not everyone was in agreement with this homework policy, and in the 1900s, several school systems were dropping it completely. According to Hamindra, a law was passed in 1901 that banned homework for all students in kindergarten through 8th grade. But then in the 30s, the Child Health Association declared homework was an act of labor. Teachers then tried to make homework more personal, so using word problems that related to their lives or related to the world, the events that were happening in the world around them, not just word problems, but what they were reading, what they were writing about, things of that nature. In the 50s, the homework ban was lifted. The US government wanted to ensure that students were receiving a challenging education, and they really did this so that they could be smarter than Russia. The Cold War had a lot to do with that, and they were basically space race minded. They wanted to be better. In the 80s, high schools students were given more homework due to the demand that education became more rigorous. And here we are today, and the topic of homework is still up for debate. Um, the pandemic did play a major factor on the importance or lack thereof of homework. But for the most part, it is the teacher's decision on whether to give out homework or not. Some places require it, some places say absolutely not, you're not allowed to. Um, where I work, it's my choice. I can't really give it for a grade, but I can choose to sit at home or not. So some different perspectives on the challenges of homework. It's not only challenging for the students, it's also challenging for the teachers sometimes. But with the students, homework can be a challenge for many reasons. Time is probably a major conflict. That's with everybody in life. But students, they have little to no homework, but they also have little to no time in their afternoon to do homework due to sports, or some are in theater, and there's other extracurricular activities that they participate in. Um, Even so, high school students are required to spend much more time on their homework, but have even more responsibilities than a fifth grader, for example. Excessive homework takes time away from activities that boost students' social emotional development, such as extracurricular activities, hobbies, and socializing, says Parker. And what I've concluded from that and from the research and the rest of that article is that the bottom line is students don't have time to successfully complete homework every day of the week. Um, it's just to check off a box most of the time. And a challenge for the teachers is that, um, believe it or not, it just becomes another piece of data that we have to grade and that we have to evaluate. And it's honestly mentally challenging just to have to give the homework just so that we can check something off of our list. Again, where I work, it's not necessary, but some places they have to do that. They have to send homework just to say they did it. And when they do that, there's no intentionality behind it. And so, in an effort to create routines for homework, we sometimes fall into the trap of assigning homework for the sake of assigning homework rather than for engaging students in meaningful practice, according to Kane. And the purpose for homework is to practice a skill that needs refining. If the homework that teachers are assigning, if this is the type of homework that teachers are assigning just to check off a box, then it's not serving its purpose. Unless there's intentionality behind what's going home and what's being required of the students, then absolutely nothing will be retained and or learned, or it loses all effectiveness. Um, And so then I decided to go into the differing viewpoints of homework. So I did some research about why people are for homework and why people are against homework. And a quote from, excuse me, excuse me, and a quote from Moskowitz, the learning that does or does not take place in the many hours outside of school has a monumental effect on children's academic success and is a root cause for educational inequity. The main argument for homework is that students need to be engaged in some form of education in all aspects of their day. Some children go home to parents who continue to expand on their education, but very few students are that fortunate. Homework is a good way. It provides a way for all students to expand upon their learning and to continue to grow in their knowledge. So if homework is being sent that is a review of what they've learned that day or extra practice of what they've learned that day, and the student is mature enough and is able to hold themselves accountable to do it and to get that extra practice in, then it's a great tool for mastering a standard or mastering a skill. But the viewpoint against homework, doing homework has no statistical relationship to achievement in elementary school, according to Cohn. Most people think that homework is just another burden that is put on students. They are in school for around 8 hours of their day, and then they are still expected to go home and complete at least another hour of homework. When students go home, they should be able to reflect on what they had learned that day. They should enjoy being able to tell their mom and dad about what they did, the activities they did, how they learned it, what they learned, all of those things, and enjoy retelling that. They should be able to participate in extracurricular activities of their choice and just to spend time with their families because they're with their friends and their teachers 90% of their day. But instead, they are forced to complete another assignment just so that teachers can check off a box or just so that the student can check off a box. Again, just the lack of intentionality. In my classroom, I do not give rigorous or really much homework at all. Every week every week we have a spelling test. So for homework, I will send a daily spelling practice that they can choose to do, but it's not required. I do not take it up as a grade. I do not give them really anything for it. It's just extra practice if they want it. Um, One day, for example, is they write each word twice. Then they write each word in cursive the next day. Wednesdays, they rainbow write, so they can write it in different colors. They can choose one color. And then Thursdays is alphabetical order. And then Friday, they come in, they turn in their homework, and it's test day, so they don't have any homework on the weekends, of course. But each day, it would take them no more than 5 minutes to complete it. And but even still, the intentionality is there, and so that they are still getting, they're memorizing it. They know how to spell their sight words, and so it's still being effective. I also have resources available if parents do ask how they could help their child at home. Um, Again, I will never require homework as a grade, but um, because they have lives outside of school, just like I do. I don't want to go home and work for another 3.5 hours. Sometimes as an adult, you just have to, but I do believe that kids should be kids and they shouldn't have that type of responsibility when they're so young. They should be able to enjoy it. All in all, a way that homework has kind of I've used in the community, I guess, is with my parents. I've met with several of them this year, and I met with all of them last year at some point. And the majority want me to send resources home so that their child could receive extra practice. It allows the parents to be involved in their child's education and be made aware of what their child is learning every day when they do walk into school. And just the parents knowing this, it builds a relationship with me because I'm open about what we're learning, but they also feel special and important because they are a part of their child's learning. Being prepared has helped me develop very strong relationships with the families that are in my classroom. It shows them that I care about their child in their child's academic success, but that I also care enough about preparing them as parents on how they can best help their child. I've just been transparent with them from the beginning about the reasons why I assign homework, and if I if they request a resource, why I chose that specific resource. And it's just created an open line of communication. I have very healthy relationships with them. It all works well, and I have homework to thank for that, really. And then here are my references.